The thing about entitlement is that you can smell it before you see it. It has this air, like perfume sprayed too heavily, choking, invasive, and impossible to ignore. And that was exactly how I felt every single morning when I stepped outside my apartment building and saw that gleaming silver Porsche sitting smugly in my parking spot. The first time it happened, I thought it was a mistake. Maybe some guest got confused and parked in the wrong place. I wasn't about to make a scene over it. Mistakes happen. I parked further away that morning and shrugged it off. But then it happened again the next morning, and again the day after that. By the end of the week, it wasn't a mistake anymore. It was a routine. That Porsche belonged to Jason, Karen's son. Now, if you've never met Karen, let me paint you a picture. She's the woman who weaponizes her HOA title like a badge of law enforcement. Blonde bob haircut, oversized sunglasses even in cloudy weather, and a permanent look of disgust etched into her face as though the world perpetually disappointed her. Her voice carried through the neighborhood like nails on a chalkboard, always commanding, always critical, always self-righteous. Her son Jason was a carbon copy, just wrapped in younger skin. Early 20s, cocky grin, designer clothes, and the kind of arrogance you only get when you've never been told no in your life. He strutted around like he was untouchable, revving that Porsche engine just to remind everyone he had it. A toy, a status symbol, a throne on four wheels. And apparently my parking spot was his personal kingdom. At first I tried to be polite about it. On the second morning I found the Porsche parked there. I wrote a note. "This spot is reserved. Please don't park here again. Thank you." I even stuck a smiley face at the end, hoping to soften it. Later that day when I came home, the note was crumpled on the ground, tire marks across it like a deliberate insult. The Porsche? Still there. The third day I caught Jason himself. He was leaning against the car, sunglasses perched on his nose, scrolling through his phone. I walked up, trying to keep my cool. "Hey man, this is my spot. You've been parking here all week." He didn't even look up right away, just smirked. "Yeah, it's just a spot, bro." "Chill." "No, it's not just a spot," I said, my patience thinning. "I pay for it every month. It's mine." Finally, he looked at me, tilting his head like I was some kind of amusing insect. "Look, dude, there are other spaces. Walk a little. Won't kill you." That smirk, that casual dismissal, lit a fire in my chest. But I clenched my fists and walked away, because arguing with someone like Jason was like arguing with a wall. A smug, Porsche-driving wall. When I confronted his mother, thinking maybe she'd be reasonable, she brushed me off with the same dismissive arrogance. "My Jason is a good boy," she cooed, like I was accusing a saint. "I'm sure he didn't mean any harm. You're young. Walking a few extra steps is good for you. Maybe be a little neighborly?" Neighborly, the word tasted bitter. In their world, being neighborly meant letting them do whatever they wanted, while the rest of us bent to their will. I tried the proper channels. I reported it to the HOA, but of course Karen was the HOA president. Complaints about her son mysteriously disappeared. The office shrugged, saying there was no evidence. Even when I submitted photos, she dismissed them as misunderstandings. Days turned into weeks, and every morning I'd wake up to see that silver Porsche smugly waiting for me, like it was laughing in my face. Every night I circled the block, exhausted from work, praying for a decent spot because mine was taken. I paid for that spot, I earned it, and yet I was treated like a trespasser in my own home. And the worst part? Jason enjoyed it. I could see it in his grin when he saw me walking past him after parking somewhere far away. He leaned on his Porsche like it was his throne, tossing me little smirks as if to say, "I win." I started noticing the way other neighbors looked at him too, resentful, tired, but too afraid of Karen's wrath to say anything. They all knew complaining was useless. Karen ran the HOA like a queen with a crown of bylaws and fines. Nobody wanted to risk her retaliation. But me, I'd had enough. Every step I took from the far edge of the lot to my building, every extra minute wasted searching for a spot after long shifts, every smirk Jason threw my way, it all built up inside me like steam in a kettle. And one day it boiled over. It was a Friday morning, and I was already late for work. My boss had been breathing down my neck all week, and I just wanted one break. Just one morning where I could pull into my own spot and not worry. But when I came downstairs, coffee in hand, there it was, the Porsche, gleaming, smug, and immovable. Jason was nowhere in sight, probably still asleep in Karen's palace of entitlement. I stood there staring at it, my knuckles whitening around the coffee cup. Something snapped. I wasn't just annoyed anymore. I was done. The way I saw it, Karen and Jason had made it clear they didn't respect me, the rules, or anyone else in this neighborhood. They thought they were untouchable because no one ever pushed back. But they were about to learn that even the most patient person has a breaking point, because I wasn't going to beg, and I wasn't going to whine anymore. I was going to remind Jason that actions have consequences, and when I was finished, that shiny Porsche, the crown jewel of his arrogance, would be nothing more than scrap metal. And for the first time in weeks, I smiled. The plan formed slowly in my head, like steel taking shape under heat. I didn't want to just call a tow truck. That would be too easy, and besides, Karen would probably weasel her way out of the fees. No, I wanted Jason to feel it. I wanted him to learn a lesson that no amount of entitlement could protect him from. So I started small. I waited one evening when Jason hadn't yet come to park his Porsche, and I reinforced the concrete barrier near my space. Just a few quick fixes, some steel rods set in place, disguised under a fresh coat of paint. It looked like nothing more than an ordinary curb. The next morning, sure enough, I came out to find his Porsche tucked neatly in my spot. But when I crouched down to look, I noticed the scrape on the lower panel, where he'd clearly brushed up against my little modification. A small win, but I wasn't satisfied. For days, I added little touches. A line of nails sprinkled strategically where his tires always rolled. A drip of oil on the ground that conveniently found its way onto his spotless paint job. Minor inconveniences that he chalked up to bad luck. But every time I saw his frustrated face, it fueled me. Then came the day when patience snapped. I walked out one morning, coffee in hand, already tired from a long week. And there it was again, his Porsche sitting in my spot like it owned the world. Jason leaned against it, sunglasses perched on his nose, smirking at me. "Guess you're walking again, bro," he said lazily. That was it. That was the last straw. That night, while Jason and Karen slept soundly in their plush home, I brought my plan into motion. Armed with tools, determination, and a simmering fury, I dismantled what gave Jason his pride. Piece by piece, I worked. Tires, slashed, hood, dented with a satisfying crack. Windows, shattered like glass rain under the moonlight. By the time I was done, his Porsche was nothing more than a heap of twisted metal and broken ego. When I stepped back and looked at it, the satisfaction was overwhelming. I hadn't just destroyed a car. I had destroyed Jason's arrogance, Karen's smug superiority. Their symbol of power now lay ruined, powerless. The next morning, the neighborhood woke to the sound of Jason's screaming. His voice echoed through the parking lot as he stood over the wreckage of his precious Porsche. "Who did this? Who the hell did this?" Karen came running, her silk robe flapping as she gasped at the sight. "My baby's car!" she shrieked, clutching Jason like someone had died. Her eyes darted around the lot, searching for a culprit, and when they landed on me, she narrowed them into slits. "You!" she hissed. "This is your fault. You're jealous, aren't you? You destroyed his car." I leaned casually against my car in my spot, sipping my coffee. "Funny," I said calmly. "You always said it was just a parking spot. Guess it's just a car then, isn't it?" Her face turned beet red. Jason lunged forward, fists clenched, but the sound of sirens stopped him in his tracks. The cops had already been called, by Karen, of course. But when they arrived and saw the scene, things didn't go her way. I had months of complaints on record, every note I left, every message ignored. The HOA even had documented reports of Jason illegally parking, and when the officers saw the wreckage, their eyes weren't on me. They were on Karen and Jason, the repeat offenders who thought they were untouchable. In the end, no one ever proved who wrecked the Porsche. The cops chalked it up to vandalism, maybe revenge from one of the many neighbors Jason had disrespected. Insurance refused to cover the damage because he'd parked illegally against repeated warnings. Karen and Jason were left humiliated. Without his flashy Porsche, Jason was just another spoiled kid with no backbone. And Karen? She finally learned that her influence had limits. As for me, I parked in my spot every day without issue after that. No one dared take it again, and every time I slid my car into place, I couldn't help but smile. Because sometimes you don't need rules or HOA meetings to teach people respect. Sometimes you just need to remind them. Metal bends, arrogance breaks, and justice always finds its way home.